Yagna. So there's 40 chopais, and each CHYK will be taking 2 chopais and will be speaking on that. So this idea was given to us by Swami Sarveshananda. And it wasn't his original idea. The original idea came from Puja Gurudev, Swami Chimananda. So when our Swami Sarveshanandaji was a CHYK, Gurudev suggested that they do a relay yagna for 1 week long, gather all the local youth and do 10 minutes each presenting on a given topic. So all week for 5 days straight, we have 20 different CHYKs presenting on different chopais from the Hanuman Chalisa. Today we have Devaki, Dave, we have Ram Narayan, he's on his way, and then we have Ambika Ambika Cheravu. And she's my wife, that's why it's so funny. And she changed her last name graciously, and I still call her by her maiden name, Ambika Khanna. And then we have Payal Sandane, who's also presenting today. So without further ado, we'll start, Devaki will start us off with the opening prayers and pass it on. Yeah.
Let's begin with our opening prayer. We chant Om 3 times. Om. Sahanavavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om. My name is Devaki, and I will be discussing the first 2 dohas of Hanuman Chalisa. But before we begin that, I'd like to see by a show of hands how many people have heard of the Hanuman Chalisa. This should be full audience participation, no pressure. Great. Now, how many people have chanted Hanuman Chalisa? How many people have memorized Hanuman Chalisa? Some of us in yup. Okay, great, everyone. So how many of you could maybe offer up suggestions or ideas as to why this monkey has been deified, this monkey god? Any suggestion? None? Any ideas? In the back, Mr. Ramesh? Incarnation of God. Okay, an incarnation of God, very good. So why the monkey? I was wondering this as I was studying frantically for this tonight. I was wondering why a monkey, and luckily one of our acharyas has answered that. So I was able to hear the talk, and I found out that the monkey, we always represent our mind as a monkey, right? Our monkey mind. If I tell everyone, don't think of a pink elephant in the room, what are you going to think of? what's your mind going to? So the nature of the mind is like that of a monkey. It's fickle, it's impulsive, it's restless. So monkey mind. Now Hanumanji is the seeker who has mastered his monkey mind. He is able to use it to serve Sugriva, and then he realizes he needs to serve a true master. He serves Lord Rama. So he's not an ordinary monkey. People say, you worship monkeys. We're like, actually, we're worshiping the seeker who has mastered his monkey mind. And another fact about Hanumanji, what his name means, is broken chin. We all know the story of how he went to the sun, and when he was struck down by the thunderbolt of Indrajit, he broke his chin. Hanuman means broken chin. So what significance does broken chin have, can you think? Any ideas? Talking less. Yes, that's his wisdom, right? His chin's broken, he's not going to ramble. Maybe. Good idea. One thing I found out, broken chin represents the ego being shattered or destroyed. Hanumanji is one of the most humble. He serves with such humility. Not once does he seek praise, is he prideful. And that's why there's a whole Chalisa dedicated to him, because he's one of the only character in the Ramayana we see who is above or beyond criticism. Everyone says, oh, Sita ji, why did you have to chase that deer? And Rama, why did you send Sita ji away? And it's just like they chalk up on political candidates. They count each action, each vote they took. Like Hillary did this, he did this. So Hanumanji is the only one with the cleanest track record. So if he was to run for president, he would probably have everyone's vote. But elections aside, Hanumanji is, again, the seeker who has controlled his mind, mastered his mind, his monkey mind, and he's got no ego, no pride. He serves with humility. So this is composed by, the Hanuman Chalisa is composed by Tulsidas ji, Shri Goswami Tulsidas ji. He was a very famous saint, and there's a very great backstory which we won't delve into before he became a saint, which we'll talk about later if we have time. But the main thing is he composed this Chalisa when he was allegedly ill. He was sick, and I believe it said that Lord Shiva inspired him to compose this in not just Sanskrit, but in Avadi, which was the language in Ayodhya. That's the birthplace of Lord Rama. So to compose this Chalisa, he was sick, and it said that by chanting it, he got better. So that's why it's probably one of the most widespread hymns or prayers we hear all across India, north, south, east, west. So let's begin chanting together the very first doha. We'll chant it together. We don't need to repeat it for time purposes. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nijamana Mukura Sudhari Baranau Raghubara Bimala Jasu Jodayak Falachari. So the first doha, we'll continue with the second next. So the first part of this doha means couplet. That's the meter they used when rhyming, that Goswami Tulsidas ji used. The rest of them, the prose is written in chopais. So the couplet, the two lines, the first doha is the first couplet. And it directly translates, with a spotless, serene mind, purified by the dust of the lotus feet of Guru, I now proceed to describe the unblemished glory of Sri Hanuman, the most exalted one of the Raghu family, who is capable of bestowing the 4 results on his devotees. That's a lot of information in one couplet. Let's discuss this, shall we? So he begins with a spotless, serene mind. How does he get that? Purified by the dust of the lotus feet of the Guru. So I'm picturing here, Tulsidas ji, frail and sick, is running after some guru, some man in orange with a long beard. And he's running after him and trying to catch this dust and sprinkle it on his head. And this guru is strange because he's kind of float walking because he's got lotus for feet. Did anybody else think of that imagery when they read this beautiful, beautiful couplet? I always thought about that. So I kind of decided, let's delve deeper, because most poets, most writers never really want you to read literally. You have to interpret. So let's interpret here. How is it that this guru has lotus feet? Why the lotus feet? Well, that's a metaphor. The metaphor of his lotus feet. Why the lotus? Well, the lotus is a very symbolic flower. It's the national flower of India, I believe. So lotus, it is born from the water, and it dies in the water, or even mud. And it lives out its life coming from this water or this mud. And yet it's detached, completely detached, sitting on top. So similarly, the guru is one who has complete and total, he's rooted in this detachment. So that's why we're metaphorically referring to the guru's feet as lotuses. We don't mean that he's float walking on flowers, which would be quite funny and difficult. But that's why. And how does my mind get purified when I bow down to this guru's feet? Well, when you're bowing down to someone, what are you doing? Literally. What happens to your shadow when you bow all the way down to the ground? It's gone. Another symbol. Symbols. This is a symbol of getting rid of our ego, overcoming your ego and approaching a guru with humility. Humility is a very important and necessary quality of a seeker, of a spiritual sadhak, of a seeker. So with humility, this bowing down, it's not just the literally, but completely surrendering your ego and sense of pride or self, or this notion of I'm going to learn all this from the guru. I'm so cool now because I go to a guru. None of that. So you've completely gotten rid of that. And that's how you purify your mind. And the mirror of the mind, it's manam mukura sudari. The mirror, mukura, of your mind is being purified. Now, how did it get dirty in the first place? It's like, well, I was born spotless. How is my mind, how has it gotten dirty? Well, maybe on the outside we're born spotless, but inside our mind, we come obviously with perceived notions and things from our past life. So this mirror that is of our mind has lots of gunk on it, for lack of a better word. And by humbling ourselves, falling at the guru's feet, trying to overcome our ego, and by more interaction with our guru, we're able to get some of this gunk off. So now that all of this gunk is off, Tulsidas Ji says, now I proceed to describe the unblemished glory of Sri Hanuman. Now he can proceed. Why couldn't he just go straight into it? Why couldn't he just start singing the chopai that start afterward? Jaya Hanuman Yagna. Why couldn't he do that first? Well, firstly, it's tradition in our prayers to have an invocation to Guru before we begin a prayer. So maybe for practical purposes, but also because just like I would need to train before going to a marathon, I can't just sign up for one online today and go tomorrow and expect it to go well and succeed at it, can I? In the same way, when we approach the Lord and when we're trying to reach our higher self, there are steps we have to take to prepare. So an important step, the bridge between who we are now and what we're trying to attain, what we want to become, that bridge is the Guru. So only after we've gone through certain steps can we actually arrive at this point where we can sing in and revel in the unblemished glories of Sri Hanuman. And he says unblemished glories, Bimala Jasu, because like I mentioned, Hanumanji is the only one who is above criticism. And he's referred to as Raghuvara here. Vara means the best of. Raghu is the Raghu dynasty. Raghuvara could refer to Lord Rama, King Bharata, to any one of Dasharathji's lineage, basically. But we know he's talking about Hanumanji because Hanumanji is the adopted son of Lord Rama and Sita Ji. So he's considered the best of this Raghu lineage. So let's see. Now what he mentions that he's going to get the Phalachari. What are these? The 4 Purusharthas, or goals of results of human life. These are Dharma, Artha, audience participation, Kama, Moksha. Hanumanji has all 4 of these. So chanting this Chalisa, you can also enjoy and experience all 4 of these. How does Hanumanji have Dharma? How does he not? What does he do that isn't right or righteous? So Dharma, he's marked off that box. Artha, what could be more rewarding than the wealth of knowledge and wisdom he has, than the darshan of the Lord Rama himself? What could be more enriching than that? And kama, what can be more pleasurable, desirable, than reveling in Lord Rama's glory at all times? And moksha, I don't think any one of us here could make a case to say Hanumanji was not free or liberated, could we? So by chanting this Chalisa, we're trying to remember the qualities of Hanumanji and prepare ourselves to live a full life and experience all 4 stages. So let's sing the second doha. Buddhihina tanu janike sumiro pavana kumar bala buddhi vidya dehu mohi harahu kalesha vikar. So buddhihina tanu janike, buddhihina, knowing that I'm ignorant, says Tulsidas Ji. So again, he's saying this to really emphasize he is humble. Just like when you go to a temple, you bow down, you take darshan of even the very step before entering the temple. So this humility again is there of the seeker. So showing that, knowing that I know nothing, that I'm ignorant. And what are we ignorant of? Usually. What is everyone ignorant of who is a seeker before they've found themselves? Is their true identity. So knowing that I'm ignorant, knowing I'm not yet, realized, I'm praying to you, Hanumanji, son of the wind god, of Pavana Kumara. It's important he mentions son of wind god, because wind, it's very interesting. The wind is always there around us. The wind has great power and great strength, but it's kind of quiet. I mean, you sometimes hear it, but it's silently, humbly serving. So this again reminds us of one of Hanumanji's qualities. And and he asks Hanumanji, he says, "O son of the wind god," he says, "Please bless me with bala, buddhi, and vidya." Bala meaning strength. And maybe this is because Tulsidas Ji was ill when he was writing this, maybe physically for strength, and that many people use this prayer to pray for health and physical strength, but also strength of mind and heart and willpower, I think. It takes a lot of courage and strength to be able to overcome one's ego, to even want to overcome the ego. So strength in the literal physical sense and also in the spiritual strength. Then he also asked for this knowledge and wisdom. Gee, how come Tulsidas Ji wants knowledge and wisdom? Gee, I wonder. Anyone have any idea? What's he going to do with it? World domination? No. He wants it so he can connect to his higher self. He's asking for this. You may have all the knowledge in the world, but without this ability to intellect, this vidya, this buddhi, to actually use this knowledge, it's perpetually useless knowledge if you don't have any ability to use it and practice it. So he's praying to the Lord, to Hanumanji, the son of wind god, Pavanukumar, please bless me with buddhi, bala, buddhi, and vidya. And he also says, help me banish all my afflictions. Harahu kalesha bikara. Kalesha is the Avadi form, as you'll read, of saying the word klesha, which is a Sanskrit word. Now the kleshas are afflictions, or let's say impurities of the mind. There are 5 of them outlined, and I will list them. Avidya, ignorance. Asmita, ego. Raga and dvesha. Raga likes, dvesha dislikes. And abhinivesha, the fear of death. These are our 5 afflictions. So that's what he means when he says, take away my kleshas. And vikara, that's from Sanskrit vikara. These are the 6 modifications of the mind. That includes kama, krodha. Kama is selfishness. Krodha is anger. Lobh, which is greed. Moha, which is delusion. Mada, which is blindness or intoxication. And matsarya, jealousy. So we're saying, please banish these from me. Take these away from me, my kleshas and my vikaras. And he's offering with this prayer, sincere prayer to the Lord, conclude the first 2 dohas. Any questions? Okay, well, Hari Om, and thank you. Next, I believe we have Ram Ji speaking.
So I get to talk about the first two chaupais. I thank Ramesh to remind me and to bring me here today. It's a very personal and intimate connection with Hanuman Chalisa that I have, and that's one of the reasons I definitely wanted to make it today. I feel very grateful. Um, my my grandmother was diagnosed with cancer, and this happened about in 1994. The first time, people did not know about cancer even those days, but particularly in the place where my grandmother was living. And my mom took care of her, and the first time she took her to the doctor, it was advanced, and then the treatments were limited. And so my mom had read about Hanuman Chalisa somewhere. She went into a room and she chanted Hanuman Chalisa 100 times back to back, just sat and chatted. So one of the last few chaupais, it says Josh Bahar, it starts like that. So it means that whoever recites the Hanuman Chalisa 100 times, all their desires will make fruit. And believe it or not, my grandmother was declared cured at that time. After this happened a month after she had done that. That was a churn for the entire family, and that drew us all into Hanuman Chalisa. And since then, I've been listening to Hanuman Chalisa since my 5th grade, pretty much every day at home, and we chanted every day, even now. In fact, in those days, it was not very popular in South India until M.S. Subbulakshmi sang the Hanuman Chalisa and made it popular in South India as well. I'm going to do the first two shlokas in MS's Pani. जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर, राम धूत अतुलित बल धाम, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नाम. So Jai Hanuman is glory to Hanuman or victory to Hanuman, and Hanuman, it's derived from the Hanumat Shabda in Sanskritam. Hanumat Shabda. And Hanuman means one who has a chin, and one who has a prominent chin. That is what it means. And we all know the story of how he was a very energetic, vibrant baby, flew all the way from his house, thinking about the sun as a fruit, swallowed the sun, and the entire world went pitch dark, and Indra had to protect the sun. So I think he had not swallowed the sun yet. Oh, probably he swallowed the sun, yes. And then Indra had to protect the world. So he had to use his Vajrayudha, his thunderbolt, and that split open Hanuman's mouth, and then the sun was expelled out. It means the comparison is Hanuman, even as a baby, was extremely strong to withstand the thunderbolt of Indra. That's what it means, and that's how we have the word Hanuman. And Hanuman is the name that Hanuman gets not immediately at birth. At birth, he gets the name Anjaneya, or the son of Anjana, and we're talking about that in the next chaupai. We're talking about Hanuman being called the son of Anjana. After he was struck with the thunderbolt on his chin, he becomes popular as Hanuman. And then Tulsidas Maharaj says, Jnana Guna Sagara. Hanuman is supposed to be, as my mother taught me, a very, very high form of knowledge. We think about Saraswati when we think about knowledge. We think about Hayagriva. We think about Dakshinamurti, and so Hanuman is there. And in the Ramayana, Hanuman also has the status of a guru. If Rama has the status of Paramatma, Hanuman has the status of a guru, because what a guru does is he helps a Jivatma approach the Paramatma or unite with the Paramatma, and that is exactly what Hanuman does. The Jivatma Sita is separated from the Paramatma Rama, and Hanuman helps bring Sita back to Rama. So another reason Hanuman is the embodiment of knowledge is the first time when Hanuman meets Rama and Lakshmana. Sugriva, when Sugriva sees Rama and Lakshmana come at a distance, he sends Hanuman first, because he is always worried about Vali's, people searching for him. So he first sends Hanuman. Hanuman goes and delivers a speech in the form of a mendicant. Hanuman delivers a speech to Lakshmana. At that, Rama is stunned by the quality of Hanuman's speech, and he says, look at the choice of words, look at the vocabulary, look at the intonation, look at the pace with which he delivers his speech, look at the ease with which these words come from, and look at the genuinity in his words, the depth in his words. That can happen only if somebody is a Pandita. That can happen only if somebody is well read in all the 4 Vedas. And Rama tells how if somebody is very well read in the Rig Veda, he gets a certain component of speaking. And in the Yajur Veda, he gets a certain component of the language. In Sama Veda, he gets a certain component of the language. And so he says, Hanuman is well read in all the 4 Vedas, otherwise he cannot speak like this. That is Rama. Rama himself appreciates Hanuman's knowledge base and his language skills. And then we also talk about Navavidan Bhakti Mein Tujhe Saman Kaun Hai. That's in one of the bhajans it comes. Again, so Hanuman has expounded the 9 different bhaktis. So after Prahalada, he was the one who popularized bhakti as a concept of attaining the Lord and continuous selfless service. So when Jnana Guna Sagara, it's when Jnana ripens, it becomes bhakti. So that is the ripened knowledge that Hanumanji possessed. And obviously, we know about the wonderful qualities of Hanuman, and that's what we're going to talk about the rest of the Chalisa, and that's all about what is there in Ramayana. And Tulsidas Maharaj says that he is the Sagara, or the ocean, or he is the infinite form of Jnana and Guna. Jaya Kapisha Tihu Loka Ujagara. This means Kapinam Ishaha. He is the lord of the monkeys. Well, we talk about Sugriva and Vali technically. However, we know that both of them had their deficiencies. Vali was all powerful but arrogant. Sugriva, again, was not that powerful, was always afraid and anxious about his position and what he wanted to accomplish. So again, we see a lot of inconsistencies in Vali and Sugriva. So technically, when we think about the Lord of Monkeys, we automatically think about Hanuman. So Jaya Kapisha Tihu Loka Ujagara. So in all the 3 worlds, may your fame rise. That's what he means. In all the 3 worlds, meaning in the Patala, Bhuloka, and Swargaloka. And then in the next Chaupai, Tulsidas Maharaj says, Rama Dhuta Atulita Paladhama. So Hanuman is Rama Dhuta, we all know him that way. But he's also Sita Dhuta, because he takes the information from Sita and gives it back to Rama. And then he also was Sugriva's Dhuta. So basically, he was the one who made Sundara Kanda Sundara. He made the Sundara Kanda beautiful. And he was, so everything about Sundara Kanda is supposed to be very auspicious. The language that Valmiki used, the language that Tulsidas Maharaj uses, this wonderful, huge monkey jumping across the ocean, which is a wonderful sight to watch. And then the tone of Ramayana changes at that time from being a sad one to a very happy and exuberant one. And then the tasks that Hanumanji accomplishes. So everything is made Sundara in Sundarakanda by Hanumanji. And that is because he takes upon himself as the only mission in his life is to be Rama's Dhuta. And Rama Dhuta Atulita Baladama, meaning Atulita means uncomparable. That's what it means. Atulita, there is no comparison to his strength. So we talked about his strength and valor, be it him as a baby taking the Vajrayuda on himself, or even later on being able to squash a horde of Rakshasis in Lanka, or kill Ravana's couple of sons of Ravana, and Prahasta's son. He was able to kill Jambumali as well. So he had already demonstrated a great feat of strength even before he met Ravana. Even before the war started, he had demonstrated a great stint of strength. But that strength is being celebrated by us today only because that strength came with absolute selflessness, and it came with a sense of service, and that's why we are celebrating Hanuman. Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama. I heard from my guru, my Dikshitar in Chicago. He told me about how we are named after our parents. So take the instance of Rama. Rama is called Dhasharathi. He is called Kakutsa because he belongs to the lineage. Sita is called Janaki after her father. And so a lot of our gods or our devatas are named after their father. A lot of them. There are a very few of them who are named after their mother, and Hanuman is one of them. His birth name is Anjaneya because he is the son of Anjana Devi, and Anjana Devi herself is a great tapaswini, and she had this baby through Vayu, through the Vayu Devata. And so Hanuman's name is one of the few instances. So Lakshmana is called Saumitri. However, Lakshmana is his first name, and Saumitri is a given name. I mean, it's his other name that which we give Lakshmana. But in the case of Hanuman, Anjaneya is his first name. It is a very a very popular name which we called Hanuman. So it's one of the few instances where a devata is named after the mother. Pavana Sutta Nama, the same thing. He's the son of the wind god, and he is one who brings glory to his own parents, Anjana Devi and the sun and the wind god. But for him, we would not know who Anjana Devi is in the first place. So it's again an example where the parents are known through the sun, and Hanumanji is an example of that. In one instance, and this is just a quick story from the Mahabharata, where Arjuna goes all the way to Rameshwara, and he thinks, who had built this bridge? This is easily breakable, and he uses the strength of his arrows, and he is not able to do that because of Hanuman's strength. I'm not able to recapitulate the entire story, but it is to prove that Hanuman's strength not only was there through the Ramayana, Hanuman's strength extended across the Mahabharata. And Hanuman is one of the Sapta Chiranjeevis, so he's still alive. Supposedly he's still alive. He's with us all the time. With that, I thank everyone for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
It is really different sitting here. Let's chant Om once together, and then we'll start. Om. Hari Om. my name is Ambika Chervu. You can call me Ambika Kannadu, that's okay. Hanumanji is also very dear to me. At YEP 3 years ago, we were introduced to, at least I was introduced to the concept of having an Ishtadevta. And growing up, of course, we learned about all of the deities. And every festival, every deity was my favorite. Durga Mata was my favorite because my name is Ambika. And it was funny because I remember I was thinking, how do I decide? And one of the things that we were taught is think about the traits that you want, the traits that you have. And I listed some out, and I went back and looked at my journal from YEP, and I wrote bhakti, devotion and love for the Lord, strength, and leadership, to name the first few. And I was reflecting, and those are the biggest reasons I also wanted to join YEP. So it really came together, and Hanumanji became my big brother and my Ishtadevta for life. So last night, Swamiji was actually mentioning Hanumanji as well during a Kathopanishad lecture. And what's great about every time we study Ramayana or Hanumanji is every time there's some other trait that I hear that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's great. I want to inculcate that too in my life. And the one he mentioned yesterday was that Hanumanji was the master of grammar and languages, kind of similar to what Ram was saying, which is very ironic because this week we're all going to be speaking about Hanumanji. So I hope that we can emulate some of these traits today. So I'd like for us to chant the 3 and 4 chopais together, and then we'll begin. Mahabir Bikram Bajrangi Kumati Nivara Sumati Ke Sangi Kanchana Parana Biraje Subesa Kanana Kundala Kunjita Kesa. So the first word, Mahavir. So Vir, of course, is bravery, and we hear that a lot. And Mahavir is greatest warrior. So I was thinking, what does that mean? So Hanumanji was the greatest because Sri Ram himself called him the greatest, which really puts you on top, like the best of the best, right? And I think that word is important, and I really reflected on that a lot because bravery and strength and valor are words that we use very often, but the context is usually in winning something or in gaining something. And so through studying, the text and the Chalisa, I learned that there are actually 5 kinds of heroism. And one of them is actually fighting in a battle. So the first one is Tyaga Viraha. And that means being a hero and renunciating for the sake of righteous living. It's really interesting. This connects with something I did last week. I went to a conference in Las Vegas, and there's a company there called Zappos. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, that you buy shoes there. They were acquired by Amazon, really well known to have a great company culture. They have the highest happiness rate of employees, and it still stayed after 10 years. So I was walking, and I turned my head, and I saw a headline, and it said, billionaire lives in a trailer park. So I was like, what is this about? So the CEO actually, he lives in, it's like 1,000 square foot aluminum trailer, and he grows his own food. He's very independent. He has sheep and different animals he raises on the side. And what was interesting is they interviewed him, and he was talking about how wealth cannot just be for the sake of yourself, but for the sake of reaching some sort of goal for the world. And what's great is that this CEO even donates money to the surrounding downtown area. So downtown Vegas used to be, and kind of still is, a bit dangerous. And he said, well, we have to help the community. I mean, they're giving us their people for the employees, they were using resources, so he was giving back. And that's a perfect example of a hero that's using their surroundings to better the world. The second type of a hero is a Deya Viraha, which is a hero that's compassionate and sees themselves and others. Now, one great example, of course, is Gurudev. I was thinking about how when the Japanese tsunami hit, unfortunately, I heard a lot of stories of some organizations that would send out relief or aid to only their people or somebody that's the same faith as them. And it really hurt to read that because there were so many people in need. And I read a story about Gurudev and how there were similar natural disasters that occurred in India over the years. And first and foremost, Gurudev would always say, just go help everyone. There's no conditions on who came, there's no conditions on who got anything, and that was really beautiful because that's really seeing yourself in others. In our class, we talked about Gurudev, and one of the biggest things that I think our students loved was that everybody was included. So we have women, we have every caste, whatnot, and that really shows seeing yourself in others and not having that discrimination or bias in one's heart. The third type of hero is a Vidya Viraha. So that's a hero in knowledge and learning. And yesterday night after Piksha, we were talking about how intelligence versus being wise. It's a very, very different thing. And what's really interesting is I heard a story about Hanumanji, that Hanumanji was so wise that Sri Ram actually asked him for advice sometimes. So I was thinking that means he must be pretty smart, right? The Lord himself is asking him for advice on the battlefield. And there's so many stories of how Hanumanji would just have this composure and this calmness. And I always have this picture in my mind that no matter what's going on, everyone would look at him and he had this stature, this valor about him. The fourth type of hero is a hero in charity. So this, of course, is helping others and not doing it for trophies. A perfect example is we went on the yatra for Chinmay mission. A lot of the CHYKs did, and we went to Cord Sirvani in Coimbatore. And what was beautiful is there's Dr. Mira, and she leads the efforts there. And she works every day, and I'm talking 15-hour days, all day, every day. There's no holidays that she has. And I asked her, I was like, do you have Sundays off? She's like, this is my holiday. This is all I do. And as we followed her around, she would go visit some children or anybody in the community. And although she's a doctor, she's a very well-known gynecologist actually there. She wasn't in there with her coat and her stethoscope just going and inspecting everybody. She would sit there and talk to them and show them how to wash their hands or ask them about their family. There was a different type of love there. And that was really special and really heroic. The last type of hero is a Ranavira, which is a brave warrior in the battlefield. And although the first thing we think of is a battle and a war, what's beautiful every time I read the Ramayana versus a lot of the other epics that we have is that although there's a battle, there's so much love in the story. And every single time I think of Hanumanji, I think of the faith that he had in his Lord. And that's what any of the story was about, which I think is beautiful. And it's not just being brave or trying to show something, because at the end, Hanumanji isn't somebody that we think of as trying to win something over. The next words are Bikram Bajrangi. So this is about how Hanumanji is very mighty and has a body that's a steel-like frame, which of course that's a physical attribute. But what's the internal attribute? Well, it's that Hanumanji is always successful. I was reading all these stories and everything. It's this accomplishment after accomplishment. I think I ran out over like eight times, and I was like, okay, it just keeps on going, because Hanumanji was very unwavering, right? And wavering in the beliefs and wavering in his love for the Lord. The next is Kumati Nivara Sumati Ke Sangi. So Kumati means negative tendencies in the mind. Nivara means to get rid of. And Sumati Ke Sangi means to give us bright intellect. So this basically means maintaining the balance of the intellect. And what I was thinking about this is that I grew up, and I'm sure all of us did, being told to chant Hanuman Chalisa when we were scared or when we needed to calm down. And at first I thought it was just because my parents wanted me to go to sleep because I get scared easily. But it actually gives you that sense of calmness. And what's beautiful is that without even knowing the meaning or what everything means, you can already feel that calmness, because we can't even begin to fight the negative tendencies if we don't calm our minds first. So I thought that was also very beautiful. So going to Chapai number 4, Kanchana Bharana Biraja Subesa. So we're going into a lot of the physical attributes of Hanumanji. Kanchan means gold. So Hanumanji had a gold complexion. And of course, this is something physical, but what does this tell us? That it's not just physical. The presence of Hanumanji changed the atmosphere around us. They're very saint-like people we know in our lives. Any interaction that I hope everyone's interacted with Guruji one time or another. Guruji is very unassuming, very small, and maybe uses 4 or 5 words, but it's a very charged atmosphere no matter what's going on. And that comes from the internal and shines outside on the face as well. The rest of it means always pleasant to look at. So this doesn't always mean attractive. There's a lot of beauty, outward beauty that isn't always attractive to look at. Kanchana Kundala Kunchita Kesa. So we're talking about beautiful earrings, curly flowing long hair. And it was interesting, I was reading Swamiji's notes on this, or listening to them.
And the best ornament we have for the ear is not always the earring. That's what we see when we see this line. It's the name of the Lord, hearing Ram Nam all the time. So when we say earring, that's what we mean for Hanumanji as well. And this is really important because I think we talk a lot about what makes one attractive. We had a big discussion about this during any CHYK discussions we had with babies and the boys as well, the boys and girls. And we have a big perception that a lot of these items we need to sustain in society. One talk we had was about what is attractive to you. And it was interesting because at first we started talking about hair and makeup and everything that is pressurizing us in the world. But then we dug deeper. And what everybody mentioned was, a lot of the girls that were in our group said, hey, being present, being confident, and being composed. And so we went on and we said, wait, but that's not what these marketing companies tell you, right? So I think Hanumanji is a perfect example. You're listing these attributes, but this is really what we're trying to emulate. So I really hope we can all emulate from this. And I hope this week we can continue to listen to more about Hanumanji and actually take all these qualities in. Hari Om.
Hari Om. My name is Kyle Sandhani, and I know we only have about 9 more minutes left, so I apologize if I go a little over time. Bear with me. So I had verses 5 and 6, and so if we can all chant together. And I'm a little tone deaf, so if I could get some help, it would be great. हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मुंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महा जगबंधन. So हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे. Hatha Vajra, basically the Vajra thunderbolt, right? In this context, it represents the mace, the gada that he holds. And he holds that in one of his hands, or Dvaja Viraji, so Dvaja, which is flag, in his other hand. And the mace represents, it represents a weapon, which is, physically, it's there to, destroy the enemy, get rid of, eliminate the enemy. But also, on a more subtler level, I know everyone's mentioned, Gada actually also means to speak. And so it represents, Hanumanji's knowledge and how he's so well versed, and it represents being able to speak true knowledge and that articulation and he truly has that, right? Lord Hanuman has that. And the second part is, or Dvaja Viraje, which stands for, Dvaja is a flag, and usually, at least back in the day, a flag is supposed to be placed on a chariot to represent the king or whoever the chariot's supposed to carry. And I thought this was very beautiful because it represents, he holds the flag himself, representing Lord Rama's chariot himself, saying, I'll carry Lord Rama everywhere, and essentially I am the chariot that carries him around. So, like Ambika mentioned, right, there's a lot of physical qualities here that are mentioned, but everything has so much depth in every single, whatever he carries, however he holds himself. Then the second part is Kande Munja Janeu Saje. So Kande Munja Janeu, which is basically, Janeu is the thread that usually, a child is supposed to have a threading ceremony that we have, representing his time to go into discipline in school and learn the Vedas, to be able to, start his brahmachari phase. And here it says, Hanumanji wears that thread all the time as a reminder that he is constantly, he is constantly attentive about the Brahma and about why he's here, what the cause is for him to be here. Then the sixth verse, actually, the next one, which says, Shankara Suvana Kesari Nandana, Teja Pratapa Mahajagabandhana. So Shankara Suvana Kesari Nandana. So Hanumanji himself, we know that he himself is Shivansh, right? He's said to be someplace son of Shiva. He's said to be the son of Anjana Kesari, Pavanaputra. He's known to be Ram and Sita's son, everybody's son, right? So he's well loved, well liked by everybody everywhere. Teja Pratapa Mahajagabandhana. And fun fact, interestingly, in India, a lot of times there's in the south, there's more Vaishnavites, and then there's Shivites, and there's always who loves who more, and I love Shiva more, I love Vishnu more. And if you notice, Hanumanji is loved everywhere. If you go, to a Vishnu Bhakta, he'll all have the same amount of love for Hanuman as he would for Shiva Bhakta. So I thought that was very interesting, that Hanumanji is well liked by everybody. And my specific experience with Hanumanji, didn't come until way later in my short spiritual journey so far. I am myself a very big Shiva Bhakta, and it wasn't until recently where I came to know that Hanumanji is Shivansh, right? And after I figured that out, it kind of drew me towards him even more. And as I started learning more about him, just everything he does for Rama and his demeanor, everything he stands for is just so beautiful, and it's getting me closer and closer to him, especially in reading the Hanuman Chalisa. And I was there yesterday to do the chanting for 108 times, and though I don't have it memorized yet, I feel like that's something next in that's the next step where I want to get to memorize Hanuman Chalisa. So with that, that's the verse 5 and 6 of the Hanuman Chalisa. So Hari Om.
All right. So it was beautiful, so inspiring to see my peers speak so eloquently about the Hanuman Chalisa. I've attended various satsangs, pravachan on Hanuman Chalisa throughout my life, but to hear it from your perspective of your peers, it was really inspiring, right? So it's charging me up. So I'm speaking on Thursday, so everyone please come to that. But I thought, yeah, and tomorrow's, and that was the next point I was going to make, is that I'm equally pumped up to attend the rest of the week. So again, throughout the entire week, 5 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have also as equally eloquent young youth that will speak on the Hanuman Chalisa. So as you can see, everyone put a lot of work and effort and really dove into the topic and really had a lot of fun with it, and provided a lot of examples and different perspectives that we might not otherwise get just studying on our own. So it's just about 8:30, so if you have to leave, that's understandable, but I was thinking it might be nice if we all chant Hanuman Chalisa together through the whole thing, right?